Good morning. It's Friday. Back in the mini garage. So today we're going to be doing some lights. Working on upgrading headlights and fog lights. So let me show you what I got. Came in the mail last week or earlier in the week. So I got everything I need now to get this done. I showed you the Zentex. Well, I showed you the box, but here's what they look like in a previous video. Anyway, so you got your HID ballast, connectors, and then your bulbs. So, like I said, I've used these before. Hopefully they work out of the box. This eBay stuff is not always the best when it comes to quality control. So we'll see. Hope for the best. What I do like about these is, unlike a lot of my other projects, these truly are plug and play, right? And we'll go through the steps, but you just unplug from the low beam and you use the same connectors, and then it comes with its own connection points for into the ballast, and you're good. The only tricky part sometimes is finding a place to actually mount the HID ballast, because like in this car in particular, there's not a whole lot of space behind the headlight housing. So, but we'll figure that out. And then I got my replacement HB3 9005 bulbs for the fogs. Take a look at those. I mean, they look very well made. Again, MIC, made in China. We'll see. So, I told you a couple weeks ago, one of my first videos, last time we were talking about lights, I was going with like a yellow theme. So I had yellow. Well, I have currently, not I had, but it's currently yellow fogs. And the H1 bulbs that are on the low beam side of the headlights are also have a yellow tint to them. So I ran those for a couple weeks. Had a couple rainy days, so I was able to see them, obviously during different weather conditions and driving conditions. And I mean, they're okay, and I kind of like the way they look. The one thing that kind of let it down was, and if you go back and look at one of my previous episodes, I showed like, the daytime look and the nighttime look is really, even though they were yellow, they just looked like halogens, because halogens themselves give off a yellow glow. These were just a little more yellow. It really kind of disappointed me. It wasn't really as yellow as I thought they would be. But anyway, so we're going to go with these HIDs. Hopefully, these are supposed to be, I believe, 6,000K. Oops, something went flying. Yeah, I think these are 6,000K. They're not blue. Hopefully they're not blue. They better not be, because I ordered 6,000K white, because I don't like the blue look. And then the fog lights were advertised as lime green. Now, I don't know if that's just because I bought them on Yahoo Auctions, so I don't know if that was just a lost in the translation thing, but that's what it said, lime green. So we'll see. I hope they're, a lime is green and green is green, so they better be fucking green. Either way, I don't want to see like another yellow tinted effect. I'm looking for green, and the reason why I decided to go with green is because it's different, number one, and number two, this car has the backlit green numbers on my license plate, and I think that would be a really, really cool match. But you never know until you get stuff installed, right? Again, good thing about lighting projects, they're usually plug and play, keyword usually, and relatively inexpensive and kind of quick to throw together. So I like going for different looks with my lighting situation, and we'll see how this turns out. Anyway, it's obviously during the daytime, so I'll have to make another video later on. and show you the results. But let's take out the headlights. So that's going to be the first step, which I kind of already started. So you got to pull all these suckers out. Plastic comes off, and then you got a couple more of these connectors, one here for the grill. That's pretty easy, that just pops off, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, and then there's a third bolt right here, 10 millimeter to take off to get the headlights off. So plastic shroud's got to come off, grill's got to come off, headlights come out, and then I'll get one of the headlights out on the desk over here on the bench, and I'll show you how to replace your standard low beam bulb with these HIDs. Right? Here we go. Alright, so it's a couple minutes later. Like I said, you saw me pull the headlight out. I put it over on the bench, and I pulled the old bulb out, and then I mocked up the new Zentech HIDs. And I didn't go through all the steps because I wanted to get it hooked up to the car just to make sure it works, because that would be kind of a letdown if I make a whole video going through the steps, which is not hard, but I was going to do it anyway, and then plug it in, it doesn't work. So good news is they do work. Obviously it's, daylight, so not the best effect, but you can see they're burning quite bright, and I was kind of worried that it might hit the front of this reflector because they're a lot longer than the standard H1 bulbs, but it looks like it's doing fine. I don't see anything smoking, so it's not touching any plastic, nothing's melting. Yeah, so far so good, they work. And you also notice one thing I forgot to mention. I did not undo the negative battery terminal, which is something you always want to do when you're doing any kind of electrical work on your car. But again, since these are plug and play, not cutting any wires, really no danger of shorting anything out or blowing a fuse, so just left that alone. And yeah, I'm going to pull these back out, and I'll show you how I got them set up, and I'll show you one major flaw that I've already noticed that I'm going to have to deal with. Alright. Okay, so I wanted to show you the temporary mock-up that I did. And but first, so here's the original H1 low beam halogen bulb, and after looking at it a second time, you put it next to the new HID bulb, and it's really not that far off. I'm kind of holding it at a goofy angle, but it's really not that much longer, so I think I'm good with clearance issues on the interior of the headlight itself. So here's the wiring, okay? So coming out of the headlight, green is positive, black is negative, and those go into black. Obviously, is negative, and then on the hot side, red goes to the green, which goes to this side of the ballast, and then coming off of the opposite side of the ballast are the two connections, again positive and negative, that actually go to the HID bulb itself. It went in. It went in actually kind of easily. I thought, because I remember doing this on another car where I actually had to make this the hole inside the light itself, the headlight, bigger, which involved like a lot of precision cutting and grinding, and didn't have to do that here, so that was good. It went right in. At first I had it in at the wrong angle. I was like, oh shit, it's not going to go. But then I just turned it and it went right in. And then this spring retainer, you got to make sure you put that back on nice and tight. Here's the problem. So this this cap obviously has to go back on because that keeps water from getting inside your headlight, any moisture from getting in, you know, from driving in the rain or through puddles or whatever, or car washes. So, well, how the heck are we going to do? How are we going to put that back on with all these wires hanging out? So, I got to figure that out. Again, this is part of the challenge with these aftermarket HID kits. You got to figure out how to secure that wiring. I think some of it I can actually stuff inside the headlight housing. I just want to make sure it's not going to interfere with the fitment of any of the other bulbs that are going to go back in, or you're not going to be able to see it obviously from the outside because that would look stupid, or it's not going to get melted. So a couple things to consider. So I'm going to try a few things and then we'll see how it goes. Okay, so after thinking about it, it looks like I'm going to have to make a hole in the backside of the of the low beam housing on the headlight, and here's why. There was really only two options because of the amount of wiring that was going to be hanging out, which is essentially these leads and then the leads on the other side, which connect, sorry, to the HID bulb. So you're going to have these and these. I mean, I could have basically notched out this plastic right here, and then you know, and then snuck the wires in that way. But you know, that would be really difficult to try and get that sealed back up, because again, any amount of moisture that gets into your headlights, maybe some of you had this problem before, it's going to cause condensation, and it's going to get cloudy, and it's almost impossible to get rid of without taking your freaking headlights out, heating them up either with a heat gun or blowing compressed air in there, letting it dry out. And I mean, you don't want to deal with this because you're trying to drive your car, right? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to make a hole, probably about as big around as my finger, so that all four wires can come out, and then just going to plug up the hole with, I do have some, I have to look, but I think I got some rubber like grommets I can probably use along with good old silicone, and that should be fine. So it's a little bit extreme, you know, maybe you may not want to do this to your headlights, but especially like I already said, and hopefully I didn't jinx myself, these made in China HID kits, I mean, I don't even know how long that thing's going to last. It could work for like a week and then burn out, but I've already just drilled holes in the side of my headlights. But that's how we do it here in the mini garage, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to film that whole process because it's probably going to be real tedious, like making a little hole, make it bigger until the wires fit through. Anyway, you don't need to see all that. I'll show you the finished product. But here is a pro tip. Whenever you are drilling into your headlight housing, which, why would you ever do that? But in case you ever do, always stuff something in there, like a rag or a paper towel, whatever you have, because, again, once you you start going in and out with your drill, you're going to create little chunks of plastic, little debris, and if that shit gets down into your headlight, you will never get that stuff out. And then when you go to put your headlight back on, you're going to see it all collected up in the bottom of the headlight, and you're going to be like, dang, I wish I could get rid of that, because it'll be very visible, especially because it's black. So yeah, and then go slow and make sure you don't damage anything when you're drilling into it, and keep the plastic piece from falling down into the headlight housing. Okay, wish me luck. So it looks like, once again, what was supposed to be simple is turning into a science project. This is going to take longer than I thought, dealing with these wires and how to get them tucked away safely. So you can see here, I got the hole drilled out, right? So those first two leads go in there nicely, which then connect up to the factory wiring, right? Positive and negative. That's all good. The problem is, now I got these big plastic connectors on this end, and these big plastic connectors on the opposite end for the other side of the HID module, ballast, whatever. So that's obviously not going to go in that hole, and I would have to make the hole like another, half-inch bigger around, which would be stupid just to stuff these plugs in here. So I think the move now is going to be clipping these off of the bulb itself, and then feeding the wiring back through the hole that I already made, and then connecting them on the outside of the housing, which I think will be better in the end, because that way I only have to worry about tucking these two small wires back into this housing, so there won't be any interference there, no danger of them melting or shorting out or anything. So I think that's going to be the move. My concern is this just standard wiring in here, or is it some kind of braided cable or some weird fiber optic shit? I mean, considering I only paid $45 for this HID set, pretty sure it's not going to be that complicated. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that. I'm going to clip them and then feed everything through, reconnect it, resolder it, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so let's check our progress. So, as you can see, I had that hole drilled out, and I was able to find a nice rubber grommet to kind of clean up the edges and basically, fill up the gaps that would be there if it was just a bare hole in the plastic. So that's a better look at the rubber grommet. So that's what I'm using. And so I got all four leads running in and out of the housing now. So you can see there where I did clip these connectors and then resolder and reconnect on the outside of the housing. And again, I don't know if you can, how well you can see that, but just standard, probably, I'm not sure what gauge it is, but just really thin, like standard wiring, like speaker wires or whatever. Nothing special about it. The only thing is, it was shielded with the black, the white plastic. So there was some shielding there that had to be removed. Just a small portion, like 1/8 of an inch right here. So where I seized the wires back together and soldered them. Don't think it's going to be an issue, but I mean, it cleaned up pretty good. I mean, these four wires are stuffed so tightly in there. I had to actually use my pliers to pull them through on the interior. These two right here. So it's tight. So I don't know. I'm probably not going to mess with any silicone, only because, I mean, that gap is pretty much full, that hole that I drilled. So I think we're going to be good. I want to button this up, mock everything back up one more time, test out the wiring, make sure we have no issues, and then should be good from there to start the other side. Another hour goes by and another setback. Let me show you something. So if you can see, right there where I'm tapping my finger, there's like a raised ridge, which I don't know if that's part of the process. But this is the fog light, by the way, the new fog light. I don't know if that's part of the process when they plastic mold these, and that's just leftover from that process, or if that's on purpose. But that stupid little ridge is preventing the fog lights from seating properly in the fog light housing, right? So I'll show you what I mean. So I don't know if you can see this, but it goes in just fine. And then look how loose this is, right? It's not making full contact. So I got a solution, as always. So I'm going to take my Dremel and grind those down, and then I'm going to add another O-ring, and that should make it nice and tight. Because again, we don't want any water in there. Don't want any more water issues inside my freaking fog lights, because it makes me crazy. All right, keep going. Before I get too carried away with modifying my fog light modification, I should probably just plug it back in and make sure the damn thing works, because ask me how I know. I've made that mistake before where I've like gone out of my way to modify something that didn't quite fit or didn't quite work right, only to find out that it never worked in the first place. So I just wasted all that time and energy. But so I just plugged it in, and I want to show you what it looks like. We'll do a side-by-side comparison with the yellow ones. So there's the yellow. Actually, it looks more amber than yellow. I think I mentioned that the other day. And now is the new and improved. A little late for St. Patrick's Day, but here it is. Green fog lights. So it's first time. Again, so at night, I'm sure it'll be much better, but so the license plate is also backlit green. So I think that'll look pretty cool. Will it function as an actual fog light? Probably not, but when has that ever stopped me? All right, continuing on.